So, as we always do after mass shootings, we're having a national conversation about some limited measures to control guns, to try to stop people from committing mass shootings with weapons that are so incredibly deadly. And in this conversation, there are people with strong opinions on all sides. But we can't allow ourselves to be so confused by the argument that we see in Congress or online into thinking that the country overall is divided about some of these subjects. Because when you actually ask them, they're not. So, for instance, banning people who are on the terror watch list from buying guns is something that apparently is going to be very difficult to get the Senate and the House to move on. And people online are so against it. But most Americans are not. In fact, 86% of Americans would back such a law, with only 7% opposed. When you break it down on party lines, 87% of Democrats support it. Now you might think, oh, well they always support getting rid of our guns. Yeah, 87% of Republicans also support it. So look, we can have conversations about the future of the terror watch list and how it should be managed and what the appeals process should be and all of that. But don't allow that conversation to confuse you into thinking that Americans actually want those people to buy guns. They don't. Nearly 9 in 10 are opposed, whether they're Democrats or they're Republicans. This is information coming from YouGov. Now, a ban on assault rifles. Obviously, that's way farther of a move than simply banning people on the terrorist watch list from buying these guns. Now we're talking about actually banning a whole sort of gun, of the sort that we banned for something like 10 years from the mid-90s into about 13 years ago. Now, you might think, oh, well that's way farther. Americans really like their guns. They would never allow this sort of thing to happen. But no, when you ask them, they're actually in support of that as well. 62% of Americans support a ban on the sale of assault rifles. Or in this case, assault weapons, because I know that you think if one word is used wrong, the point underlying it suddenly doesn't have any meaning. 27% oppose. So, more than twice as many Americans support banning it as support keeping the law the way it is, with only 11% not sure. This is not something that Americans are confused about. They know what they want. Now, look. Simply having the American public support something or oppose it doesn't mean that we should do that. But when it's both abundantly clear that it's the right thing to do, when it's worked in other countries, when it's long overdue here, and at the same time the American public is calling out for it in a decisive fashion, irregardless of party label, maybe this is something that we should move on. With the nice side benefit of the fact that it seems like almost certainly it would have stopped some of these mass shootings from happening. So, continue with the Twitter arguments. I know that people enjoy it. Go into the comments of YouTube videos and argue it out. That's a great hobby to have. But the American public are very sure about this, so don't get it twisted.